Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and power creep in Hearthstone is a thing that just keeps on happening. And we're gonna go through the latest mini set, delve into Deepholm, and take a look at the cards that power creep, or at least kind of seem to be inspired by older cards, and well, take it to another level, just like our boy Sathravar here, which we'll talk about in just a second. And if you enjoy the content on the channel, if you like, haven't earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, it helps us out a lot. So yes, Sathravar, a legendary back from Descent to Dragons not that long ago. 9 mana, 5/5 demon, battle cry, choose a friendly minion, add a copy of it to your hand, deck, in battlefield. You'll note I don't have a golden because it's one of the only cards I can't get golden because you need like a BlizzCon ticket from back in the day, and one of the things I just don't have. But if that card seems awfully familiar, well, all you gotta do is look at the latest mini set. Take a look at a card that I think is driving certain people crazy, maybe me. Shattered Reflections, the dual class pre-spell. If you compare it to Sathravar right there, this could choose any minion, not just friendly minion, and you can add a copy to your hand, deck, and battlefield. Yeah, you don't get that sick tempo of that 9 mana 5/5 demon, but you can play 2 of these. You can discount it with spell manipulation, and yeah, you could copy Eonars or your Priest Titans, and it's just a ridiculous card right now, and one that I wish couldn't target Titan minions at the very least. And yeah, we got infinite fizzle decks going on and all sorts of shenanigans. But what other cards do we have here that have power crept on older cards? Well, it didn't take Death Knight very long. It took actually just over a year. The class launched to power creep on itself with this dual class card that's a Death Knight and Paladin, Mining Casualties. You summon 2 1/1 Silverhand Recruits, those little dudes there, and then Death Rattle, you get 2 1/1 Frail Ghouls. So the charge guys, and it wasn't that long ago, last December, we got Graveyard Shift, where you got 3/1 for 3 mana, 2 1/1 Undeads, and they have Reborn. So they don't even have the charge that these have, and also requires 1 Unholy Rune. So it's more restrictive, and most often, not always, but most often is just flat out worse than this card. And yeah, Mining Casualties is ridiculously good right now in Paladin, in Death Type, just a really strong card. You get 4 corpses, you can get some charge stuff, and yeah, Paladin, you can't kill their stuff, and then they do their whole Crusader Aura thing and just blow you up. You have a Hunter card here, Shimmer Shot, 1 mana, it deals 1 damage, summon a random minion of that cost. It also has the Arcane tag. Well, if this card seems kind of familiar, there used to be an old card called On the Hunt, a 1 mana spell that just dealt 1 damage. Summon a 1/1 Mastiff. You always got a 1/1 beast. Sometimes that's better than a random 1-drop, but it also doesn't scale. Where this gets spell damage, you get a bigger minion. And On the Hunt also got power crept by Wound Prey, which was a 1 mana spell, deal 1 damage, summon a 1/1 Hyena with Rush. So sometimes maybe that's a little bit better than an average 1-drop, but again, doesn't scale. And you also don't have the Arcane tag, which is super relevant in today's game. So Shimmer Shot is just keeping the evolution of power creep and Hunter very strong. So we have the Mage and Warlock spell. This one's a bit more of a, you could argue, might not be as power creepy, but Soul Freeze, 1 mana frost spell, freeze a minion and its neighbors, deal damage to your hero equal to the number frozen. So you take self-damaging effects, but for 3 times the cost, way back at the beginning of Hearthstone, you could play Cone of Cold, which would also freeze 3 targets, but it would also deal a damage to them, and you wouldn't take self-damage. But I don't know, I think I'd rather take the one that costs 1/3 of the cost to freeze everything. But still, you can argue that maybe that one's not nearly as bad. And another one that's not too bad, but we gotta mention it, Chaos Creation, the new Mage and Warlock. It's really just a Warlock spell. Fell spell, deal 6 damage, summon a random 6-cost minion, destroy the bottom 6 cards of your deck. So Firelands Portal, of course, right? That's 7 mana. It used to be 5 damage and 5-drop. Now it's 6 and 6-drop. But I mean, compare it to that, and you're playing Warlock, and you're playing this, and you're getting a 6-drop and dealing 6 times 4 with all your sludges. Insane power creep, but yeah, overall, not really. Especially, I'm sorry, if I'm play Mage, most of the time I'm gonna play Firelands Portal because I probably don't want to burn my Sith or something important for 1 less mana. But hey, sometimes it's the right Discover option, you never know. Next we have Sir Finley the Intrepid, the Paladin and Shaman legendary battle cry. If you've excavated twice, transform all enemy minions into 1/1 Murlocs. Get a 3 mana 2/3 body. And if you compare that to the old spell Mage had, Mass Polymorph for 7 mana, it would turn everything, both sides, into 1/1 sheeps. You didn't have to excavate, that's true, and it wasn't a legendary, but still for 4 less mana, it's pretty ridiculous that you get a one-sided better Mass Polymorph. But hey, you turn them into sheep, those are beasts. You turn these into Murlocs, and maybe they're running Murloc War Leader and you're actually helping them out. So who knows, maybe it isn't that bad a power creep. While we're on this screen, Needle Rock Totem, the Shaman and Warrior dual class card, 2 mana 0/2 totem. At the end of your turn, gain 2 armor and draw a card for 1 more mana. And this card, I think, is still in the core set. I could be wrong. You can play Mana Tide Totem. For 1 more mana, you get 1 extra health, but you also don't get the armor. This card just ridiculously good that it sees play already in even Shaman and is probably worth playing in Wild. And every Shaman and Warrior deck in Standard are absolutely playing this because Mana Tide Totem was always like not bad for quite a long time until card draw became ridiculously cheap. And that's why Needle Rock Totem is what it is and is just making Mana Tide Totem a very, very sad card. And we got also Shaman Paladin card Shroomskavate, give a minion Wind Fury and Divine Shield, excavate a treasure. I mean, it costs 1 mana less to get Wind Fury, but you didn't get Divine Shield, you didn't get to excavate a treasure, so it's a little bit better, I would say, overall. But even Shaman players will tell you they much prefer their Wind Fury because, well, you know, they can play it. They can't play this. This costs more mana. It's not an even card. What are you doing? Fossilized Kaleidosaur, a new Paladin unit here, minion unit. I don't know what I'm talking about. 4 mana 3/4 Undead Beast Battlecry. You gain 2 random bonus effects. Excavate a treasure. It's not like a direct comparison, but it just reminded me a lot of Verdant Longneck, an old Druid card from Agoro. It used to be a 5/4. It's a 5/5 now. Battlecry Adapt, where you get to pick your adapt. You get 3 options, but the whole bonus effects are really similar to Adapt. This comes down for cheaper. You get 2 of them, and you excavate a treasure, and this has 2 different tribes. I think that's a little bit, you know, it's a somewhat all right comparison. And this card's just really good. And that old long deck pretty much was never good at all outside of like fringe questory lists like way back in Ongoro. Shadowward Steel, the Priest and Rogue dual class shadow spell, 5 mana. Return an enemy minion to your hand. That's pretty good, right? Well, Entomb used to be a 6 mana spell. You got to take an enemy minion and you shuffled it into your deck. Sure, there's some fatigue benefits to that, but overall, I think I much rather just take their minion and have it in my hand and I'm ready to play it. Plus, this is available in Rogue where they can prep it and do all sorts of shenanigans. I gotta say, just slightly better than Entomb. And if you compare it to like a Mind Control, it's not a direct comparison because you actually keep the minion, but that cost 10 mana back in the day. What would that cost in today's game? Like, well, actually, it costs 0 mana on the old Yogg. We'll have to figure out someday when they decide to reprint that card. Oh, wait, they did. Sylvanas, what am I talking about? 6, you just got to infuse it. Aftershocks is just one insane warrior shaman AoE card, 4 mana nature spell. Deal 1 damage to all minions 3 times. It costs 2 less if you cast a spell last turn. So you could look at Whirlwind, which is 1 mana. It's almost power crept on that a little bit. I think the best comparison, just to show how crazy this card is Warpath. Warpath was a 2 mana echo spell for warrior. To get those 3 AoEs, you had to spend 6 mana compared to quite often the 2 mana on Aftershocks. Of course, there's the upside. I could spend 10 mana, get 5 Whirlwinds, but Warpath was a really good card back in the day, and Aftershocks just shows like how crazy things have gotten, and doesn't feel out of place in today's game, but yes, Aftershocks is a pretty darn ridiculous card. And lastly, we got our boy here, Deep Miner Brand, a 6 mana 2/4 warrior. Highlander legendary battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, your battle cries trigger twice. for the rest of the game. I'm not comparing it to the original brand. They're quite different, and that's 3 mana, but you compare it to the Shaman quest, Corrupt the Waters, where you had to play 6 separate battle cry minions to activate your hero power, where you had to spend 2 mana every single turn to then double your battle cries for the rest of that turn. Really good card back in the day. I played a lot of Quest Shaman. That was quite a fun deck. But now, instead of having to play a whole quest, complete it, all that, it's got to play this minion and live. And yeah, you got to play, you know, the Highlander strategy, not have it dirty routed, not have plagues put into your deck. But still, I got to say, it's a lot easier to play me some Deep Miner Brand than complete a rather, you know, kind of crazy quest. That kind of funny to look back at those old quests and compared to the old quest lines. And oh, I miss those days compared. If they ever do quests again, do it like that, not like quest lines. Anyways, that's my list of cards that power crept on older cards. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you think I missed, which one you think I'm stretching it a little bit too much. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.